Gran here for a weekly What's up, everybody? Subaru X fan here for weekly update number 53 on this Friday. So, what's new with the BRZ? Well, nothing really. Actually, yeah, there is some stuff going on. So first is it's finally warm enough I can actually roll down the windows a little bit. I think spring is really close to being here, which means one thing, and that is that I'm getting ready to swap over different tires. I'm thinking about going with the Sumitomo HTR Z3s. Those are tires I've ran on the Legacy twice. I went through 2 sets of those. They last forever. They have good grip, but not tons of grip, which is perfect for this car because, you know, I want something that's not super grippy. They are still summer tires. They're performance tires. They're not Grand Touring or all seasons like you see on the stock BRZ and FRS, but I think that they'll still, you know, have a low enough level of grip that it'll still be able to be tail happy while maybe giving a little bit more front end grip in corners and things like that. I think it'd be a good tire. Plus it's super cheap as well, so for that reason alone it's just a win-win. So I figure I can't really lose. I'll try them out and see how I like them. I'm not sure when I'm going to buy them just yet, but I'm pretty sure that's what I'm going to go with. The other thing though, bad news. The driver's side taillight that was fixed, you know, a few weeks ago because of the condensation, that one's fine, but the passenger one has now started to get a lot of condensation again. Even with the homemade fix that I supposedly did not fix the problem apparently. So that's pretty annoying. So yeah, and another interesting thing with that whole taillight deal is that I'm over 29,000 miles now on the car, and the general warranty for this car ends at 36,000 miles, which means I only have, you know, 7,000 more miles for this problem to get resolved under warranty. After that, it's my own problem, and Subaru won't fix it for free. So, you know, I'm hoping that I figure this out sooner or later, because if I don't, and the warranty's out, I'm probably going to swap taillights to another aftermarket brand and hope that those are sealed better than the stock ones are. But yeah, that's it for all the updates on the car this week, guys. So I'll send back to me at the news desk for this week's news. Right, for this week's news. The first thing is some sad news, actually, that Fiat is reconsidering their whole partnership with Mazda over this new Alfa Romeo Spider that they were going to be coming out with, which would be based on the new Mazda Miata that's coming out. And it's mostly because the Fiat CEO has said he never wants an Alfa to not be made in Italy. So, you know, with this partnership, Mazda was set up as they were going to be the ones to build the Alfa Romeo Spider in their plan in Japan, and it would just be badged as an Alfa, and Alfa would obviously have designed the car, and that's why I was so excited about it, because it would have the wonderful driving dynamics of the Miata. Not that the Miata is a bad looking car, but it would have all the beautiful looks of the Alfa Romeos, and so that would have been a wonderful combination. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen now with this car. It might just end up getting built separately with using the same parts as the Mazda, but just be built in Italy somewhere. Or they're thinking about maybe instead of making an Alfa Romeo, they would make it a Fiat, because Fiat's done some little roadster spider things in the past, so that would work as well. I just hope they bring some form of this car. I just want a better looking Miata. Not, like I said, like there's anything against the Miata, but just having an Italian version with some Italian flair would be amazing. So really hope some kind of roadster comes out of Italy with this whole partnership, but yeah, we'll keep our fingers crossed. Next is an announcement just that the 2015 Nissan GT-R Nismo that we saw at Detroit at first, and now it's also at Geneva as well, has officially been priced, and it's going to be basically $10 shy of 150 grand. So $150,000 for the Nismo version. It's going to have an amazing performance, you know, value to it, but it's still 150 grand is steep for a Nissan. So I don't know, I feel a little weird about that. Next is BMW has officially announced the X4 that was kind of teased last week with the camo pictures and whatnot. And it's going to be pretty cheap, 45 grand roughly for the base model with a 4-cylinder. You can get the 6-cylinder for a few $1,000s more. And, you know, it looks good. I always like the X6. I think this looks good as well. I don't think the X6 sold very well, so I don't know how well this thing's going to sell, but hey, maybe it'll be cheaper and sell better. I don't know. One car that I hope sells really well is Jaguar has officially announced their 3 Series fighter, their little small sports sedan that they're going to be calling the XE. And this is going to have a turbo 4-cylinder probably as the base engine. And they just released one teaser image of the front end and what it looks like. And it looks spectacular in typical Jaguar fashion. And I just really, really hope this car does well. And there's no details on it yet aside from the name and the front end. Really hoping we see more of it soon, and hope that it is a hit for Jaguar, because they say they need that car to be successful, so really hope it is. Alright, so on to the rest of the Geneva news here. There's this car company that was around back in the 50s and was reestablished just a few years ago called Armeni. And Armeni, they have this new little roadster called the Civic Type R, I think is how you pronounce it. That's really bad Italian, I'm sorry. But I think it's a really cool little car. They want to get back. They were epic back in the 50s. They won the Targa Florio twice, which is an epic race if you've known about that race. And so, they're going to come back and use some of their coach building and know-how to build this cool little car. And I think it looks really great. I'm excited. It's always interesting to see a new car brand pop back up. Next is, at Geneva there's always lots and lots of tuner cars. There's lots of tuner brands represented. And one of the new ones this year is Nimrod, which I don't know if they don't realize that means idiot, basically, in America. But this Nimrod brand, they have modified a Ferrari 458 to look like a Ferrari XX Evolution, which just makes it look way faster and way sweeter than, 458 is an amazing car, but this really just goes over the top. They also have done an Aventador with a weird nose to it, so yeah, interesting takes. It's very unique for sure, so yeah, that's interesting to see. Heyman also has modified Lamborghini's Aventador with their limited version, which has some green inserts in the grills, a different body kit, and things like that. And it's more powerful as well. It's going to 760 horsepower now, so that's cool. Lots and lots of modified Aventadors. Did I say lots of modified Aventadors? Yeah, there's another one too. Mansory has come out with probably the sweetest Aventador that's here at the show, and that is a 1600 horsepower twin turbo one called the Carbonado GT, and it's lots of carbon fiber, has some Reventon inspired wheels, and yeah, roof scoop, and looks really, really wild. They're claiming with this 1600 horsepower they had to limit the torque electronically to 855 foot-pounds for some reason, but it still does 0 to 60 in 2.1 seconds and has a top speed of 230 miles per hour, they're saying, which is pretty sweet if that's true, and so it'll be interesting to see one of those driving around maybe one day. Mansory came out with a new version of the Veyron called the Viveri, and it's basically kind of like the other ones they've done, except this one's a little more subtle, and that's all there is to that. Another thing is Tech Art has released a modified Porsche 911 Turbo S. They've bumped the power up to 620 horsepower. They say 0 to 60 comes in 2.8 seconds. Has a slightly more aggressive body kit, cool paint job and wheels, whatnot. Another cool car, little take on the 911. Volkswagen has said that they're considering bringing a U.S. Pickup truck because, Volkswagen is the people's car, and, they want to have every segment covered. And if you think about it, their sales have been a little slow recently. Some of the top-selling vehicles in the U.S. are pickup trucks. And so the fact that Volkswagen doesn't already have a solid pickup truck as an offering here in America is really a big surprise. And they've actually had this concept pickup truck that they came out with recently. And, that would be a great start to compete with the, new GMC Canyons and things like that are coming out, and the Colorado. And so I think that they could start with that and eventually move up to a full-size pickup. I think that would really help Volkswagen sales a lot. Another updated car that came out at Geneva was the Rolls-Royce Ghost Series 2, which has slightly modified headlights, looks a little bit updated, very subtle stuff, but yeah, so new Rolls-Royce. Another thing is, we talked about McLaren's 650S that they came out with, that was coming out of Geneva here. It's a more powerful MP4 12C that has the front end of a McLaren P1, so it's the best of both worlds, really. And they've also announced they're doing a Spider version. So, there's a Spider version of the MP4, and, obviously this is very heavily based on the 12C, so just making a Spider version out of a Spider 12C is very easy, and it looks great from the pictures here. So very glad that McLaren has decided to offer the 650S as a Spider as well. And one disappointment from Geneva was the new Audi TT, which officially has been unveiled and everything. And same basic engine offerings as before. And the really sad thing is it's basically the same exact body. The body lines are, I think, identical to the car that has been out since 2007. So we're talking about a design that's already 7 years old, and then they just kind of put a new front end on it and some new taillights, and has a sweet new interior, you know, with these gauge clusters and whatnot that I talked about in previous updates. But really just, I don't know why Audi didn't go and make that a lot more aggressive. If you look at the jump from the first generation Audi TT to the second, there's a big change. So for this, they're calling this the actual third generation. It's not an update, it's the brand new Audi TT. They should have made it a whole lot more different, and so that just looks a little underwhelming to me. They also, though, debuted what the high-end version of this could eventually become with the Audi TT Quattro Sport concept, which looks a lot like the Sport Quattros that, you know, the concepts we've seen over the past few months. And they're saying this would do 420 horsepower, which is pretty crazy, and would be very impressive, you know, from a performance standpoint, because we're talking about, you know, it's still just a 2-liter turbocharged engine, which is insane. So that would be an epic performer. They're saying 0 to 60 would be around 3.7 seconds for a TT. That's sick. So hopefully that comes out. Like I said, I just wish that it looked cooler. One thing, though, that was not a disappointment, was actually a pleasant surprise, was Infiniti. You know, they came out with the Q50 Rouge back, you know, at the Detroit Auto Show. I filmed it and showed it to you guys and talked about it. And now they've said that if they make this, they're putting a GTR engine in it. The concept that showed up at Geneva had a GTR engine in it. And my comments on that are wow, 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 wow. Best idea Infiniti has come up with, I think, ever. And yes, just give us this 4-door GTR. It'll sell amazing. And yeah, that is good, good, good. Yeah, so they need to make that quick. I want to drive it. Yeah, I'm excited about that. Next is Honda has officially unveiled the Civic Type R concept. This is a car that quite a few of you have asked me about, so I'm talking about it. It looks really sweet. I like the way it looks a lot. I mentioned that a little bit in the live stream this past week, and I don't know if we're actually going to get it here in America. You know, that's the thing I'm always uncertain about. Some people have said we will. Some people said we won't. I don't really know, but it's doing, you know, 276 horsepower, so I mean, that's going to be one heck of a car if we can get it over here in America. For those of you in Japan and Europe, though, if you get that, that's going to be sweet. The hot hatch segment over there is awesome. So that's a really cool looking car, too. Next is Bentley's come out with a couple new cars. So they have the Flying Spur V8 now. The Flying Spur is the 4-door version of the Continental, essentially. And they decided to put the V8 engine in that as well. And so this is the cheap, you know, kind of entry-level 4-door Bentley, and I mean, Bentleys have had twin-turbo V8s in the past. I think that's great. I really like the V8. It sounds amazing, and I'd actually prefer that over the W12 myself. So very cool that they're now offering that in the Flying Spur. And then Bentley has also introduced the new Continental GT Speed for this, you know, new version of the Continental, and it's going to be the fastest Bentley they've ever made. So this one does 204 miles per hour. It's 626 horsepower from the twin-turbo W12 that they've been using, you know, for a while now, and yeah, that thing is pretty sweet. Although I still think I prefer the V8 just because it sounds better, in my opinion. And Subaru has officially unveiled the Visiv 2 concept that, you know, was teased last week, and it looks good, like the gull-wing doors and the cool styling, but, you know, like normal with Subaru, I'm not getting my hopes up because it looks great. Doubt we'll ever see anything that looks anything remotely like this, but it's a very cool concept. They're maybe throwing around the idea of doing another third crossover, considering the XV Crosstrek was such a huge success. The Forester is a huge seller. The Outback is also a really good seller. So adding another one, if they think there's a market there for it, I think that would be really cool. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Talking about little crossovers, though, Jeep has officially announced the 2015 Jeep Renegade, and this is full production car, and I mean, it looks kind of funky, but I really like the way this thing looks, and I gotta take my hat off to Jeep. They really are just doing a spectacular job of taking chances, being bold. I mean, this thing is very boldly styled. It's very funky looking, but I think it's gonna sell really well because Jeep has been on a hot streak. In February, they were the top selling brand in America. And, you know, it's really impressive that just the leaps and bounds that Jeep has done. I was just actually talking the other day about how I see Jeep Grand Cherokees everywhere now, and that's really great. I'm glad to see Jeep doing well. And I think this little Renegade is going to be a huge hit. You can get it with either a 1.4-liter turbo engine out of a Fiat 500L, or you can do a 2.4-liter four-cylinder out of the Dodge Dart. And it'll come with either a 6-speed manual, which is cool that they actually have a stick, or you can do a 9-speed automatic. So I'm sure it'll get excellent gas mileage as well. It has a removable roof and stuff. Lots of really cool little features with this thing. And no price is announced yet, but I'm sure it's going to be pretty cheap, well under 20 grand. And that is really promising. So I think that'll be another big hit for Jeep. Next is Alfa Romeo has officially debuted the 4C Spider that I talked about last week. I said they were going to probably bring here at Geneva. And it looks just how you would expect a convertible version of the 4C to look. It looks spectacular. One cool thing is they've also changed the headlights from the controversial headlights that are on the current 4C. And these new ones look really stunning. So, I mean, the Spider with these new headlights. Alpha, I love your designs. So, next is one car, if you watched Top Gear this past week, Touring as a company in Italy. And they have come out with the Disco Volante, which is a Alpha 8C Competizione that they have rebodied and, you know, done their coach building stuff and really worked over a lot of the other components of the car as well, and made this totally new car. And it came out of Geneva with green paint and gold wheels. And I gotta say, I know Jeremy Clarkson was drooling all over this thing in Top Gear, but I don't know. I think it looks good from some angles, but weird from others. I still can't get over the fact that it just has Ferrari 599 headlights just basically stuck on the front there. And yeah, just a little uncertain about the way that looks. I know that might be blasphemy to some people, but not totally sold on the way that looks just yet. Next is a car that I forgot to talk about last week, and that is the Koenigsegg Agera 1-to-1, which is their hypercar of hypercars. This thing has 1,360 horsepower. It looks like they want to take back the top speed record. They're saying this thing will do 273 miles per hour. And I mean, the cornering is insane as well. They're saying it'll pull around 2 Gs of cornering force on road legal tires. So just mind blown everywhere. It's just crazy. So yeah, that's gonna be sick. Don't know you know, when that's gonna be coming out, but that is gonna be pretty sweet. I'd love to see one of those one day. Next is that Porsche has announced the 919 Hybrid, which they want to get back into Le Mans. And this car actually is really interesting. It has a V4 engine, so it's, you know, like a V-twin engine, but it's got all kinds of crazy stuff going on in it. It's revs to over 9,000 RPMs. I mean, it's doing 500 horsepower with a bunch of recovery systems and whatnot. It's just a crazy technological feat. And so it's really cool that Porsche wants to get back into the Le Mans racing. They haven't done that in a while, so that's very, very cool. And one car that was gorgeous, I didn't think it would let me down, but it didn't. The Maserati Alfieri, which is this new, probably the new Gran Turismo, and it just looks stunning. Maserati, man, I want to shake the hand of the man who designs the cars of Maserati because he is a genius. This is just amazing looking. I love the way it looks, and there was even a video that leaked of how it sounds, and it sounds spectacular just being parked as well. So, I mean, Maserati is just up to all kinds of good things, so this is really just exciting. Can't wait to see that actually come out. So, yeah, good day to be alive as far as the car scene is concerned. So many sweet cars. Speaking of sweet cars, there's another one. Pagani, they are saying this is the last version of the Zonda. They've said that several times now, but they're saying this is absolutely the last version. It's called the Pagani Zonda Revolucion, which I think they've used that name already, so I don't know. This one is just pretty special, looks pretty crazy. It's lighter than ever, you know, crazy bodywork and whatnot. It's $2.9 million, and it's doing 800 horsepower from that wonderful sounding V12 that you all know and love. And yeah, all kinds of sweet stuff. So yeah, if you are still in the market for Zonda, grab one of those before they're gone. And lastly, one other thing that was announced is Apple actually announced at Geneva that they are coming out with this CarPlay, which is an in-car iPhone interface, which just is a touchscreen. It integrates all your iPhone apps and, you know, it gives you the same user experience you're used to if you have an iPhone in your car. And apparently they have all kinds of people signed up. Right now, so far, they've confirmed Ferrari. It's going to be in the new Ferraris. It's going to be in Mercedes-Benz and Volvo. Volvo actually posted a video showing how it would be integrated in their cars. But they're like expected. Apparently they have deals with BMW, Ford, General Motors, Toyota, Honda, Nissan, Mitsubishi, and Jaguar and Range and Land Rover. So all kinds of companies are signing on to this. I find it kind of funny because it's not like everyone has an iPhone. I'm assuming it just wouldn't be an option if you aren't running an iPhone. But I feel like, with how many Android phones are out there, it's kind of strange that so many car manufacturers are willing to go just totally Apple on this stuff. I feel like it would kind of exclude a lot of people, but it'd be interesting to see how that all works out. But yeah, very, very cool technology from what I've seen. So yeah, that's it for all the news this week, guys. So send it back to me in the car. Alright, so I'll leave you guys with a nice little acceleration here like I always do. Crack the window this time.